Hi guys! Welcome to my first episode of Brit Barbie's Tea Party. I'm your host, Brit Barbie, also known as Ruby Smith. I hope you have your drinks ready, spiked or not, because the tea is about to be served. Okay. Hello, I'm doing a podcast. Were people expecting this? Yes and no. I'm just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to explain a little bit why I'm doing it, where I'm from, and then we're going to get into the tea. So, I've lived in England my whole life. I'm British, but I'm also a dual citizen. My mum's American, so that's why I study in America. I chose OSU for many reasons. I like the campus, but honestly, I just wanted to study abroad because in my head, if I studied in America, obviously I'm a dual citizen, legally there was no complications. It was almost like a holiday. And I'm going to be honest, it literally is like a holiday every day. Sometimes life doesn't feel real. But here I am. So, if you know me or you know of me, you know I'm referred to as either British baddie, Brit bar, it's something along the lines of that. So, I wanted to do a podcast, one, because I love talking. Two, I normally do like little podcasts on my Snapchat and people eat it up. So I thought, why not do something that expands my horizons, pushes me out my limits, because it's scary. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's scary. Because me doing this opens myself up to the possibility of a lot of hate. So if you're going to hate, just don't. Like, don't. Anyway, so I'm just going to give you a bit of background so we can understand what I'm talking about today. Each podcast is obviously going to be something different. And yeah, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. Okay, so I came to OSU fall 2024. I was originally meant to go for the equestrian side, stuff like that. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. There was complications and stuff like that, which we can get into another time. So that left me with the option, do I still choose to go to OSU? And I chose to go to OSU, one, because I love the campus. I was originally a pre-vet major and I was in the FIT program, so there was lots of positives for me to go. One of the main reasons I wanted to go was for Rush. In England, Rush doesn't exist. There is no sorority, there's nothing like it. So if I'm going to America, I want the full experience. So I decided to Rush. Luckily, I got into my top house. I love my sorority. The girls I've met in there now, like, I have my solid group of friends, and I would rather die for them. And I've proved that, no matter how controversial or confrontational I've been. If you know me, you know I'm confrontational. I've been confrontational my whole life. It's how my parents brought me up. And I actually got in a lot of trouble for being controversial in my old school, which we're going to get into. But I'm very blunt and I'm very straight to the point. People know that. That's why they come to me for advice. They know it's black and white with me. I'm going to give it to you straight. So, why not start with one of the first things that happened at OSU? So, obviously I rushed, and if you know the rush process, it's over multiple days. And each day is kind of different, the sisterhood days, stuff like that. Well, anyways, like, cut a long story short, I'm in my sorority, blah de blah. Obviously, Greek life, I stood out. There's no other British girl in Greek life. I obviously don't dress American. Shock. So you've got to imagine, I'm in my sorority, I'm easily standing out, people call me British baddie, stuff like that at the time, that's how people knew me. So, obviously I'm going to the frat parties. Everyone knows I like to party. Is it a shock looking at me? I don't think so. So, I'm going to these parties, stuff like that, but the biggest difference straight away I noticed from American life to English life was what you guys wear to parties. I'm obviously British, so I dress British. So I obviously stood out even more. So for me, going to a party, I would wear like a PLT dress. You know, we wear short dresses. If you're English, you know, you would normally be partying at a younger age. You're normally in the field, that kind of stuff. Obviously, the drinking age is different. In England, it's 18. In America, it's 21. I don't drink. I know my sorority is watching this. I don't drink. Never touched a drop of alcohol in my life. So anyway, I'm going to these frat parties, and it's guys are inviting me even though I'm already in a sorority. They're like, oh, are you coming? Are you coming? I want to see you. So obviously, I'm wearing my British outfits. So I start going to parties, blah, blah, blah. People start, you know, recognizing me, knowing me. And then I start hearing tea about myself. Rumours. If you know me, you know of me. If you have me on Snapchat, Instagram, you've probably heard a rumour of me. One thing I will tell you about myself, I don't talk about my business. I don't. I don't like people knowing what I'm doing. I don't like people knowing who I'm talking to. So if you've heard a rumour about me, unless you have heard it from my mouth, it is a lie. I'm confronting all the rumours this episode. I think that's the best place to start. Let's start on a clean plate. Let's make it known. So I'm obviously going to these parties. You know, I'm good social life, good school life, getting good friends. And I start getting messages or hearing things through the grapevine about myself. And the rumours are horrible. They are horrible. One thing I will say about rumours, because I've had to deal with rumours almost my whole life. I don't understand rumours. I really don't understand why you would make a lie about someone or why you would on purposely try bring someone down. But, well, obviously I'm going to use fake names. This isn't aimed at anyone. Say Lucy is speaking about me and going, oh my goodness, she's such a whore. The reason she's speaking about me is because if she spoke about herself, no one would care. No one cares what Lucy's doing. No one cares for her. So what does she have to do? She has to speak about me or you. You know, if you're watching behind the camera and you're like, why are people like being mean? Why am I always in people's mouths? Chances are they are so boring and they are fixated on you because they know people will speak to them if they speak about you or they mention you or they feel important, a part of the conversation, because no one cares about them. I never, ever have made a room. I probably have in my past, but I've grown, I've matured. The Ruby here sat now will not entertain rumours. Someone went to me the other day, there's this girl, she didn't like me, she was nasty to me, and someone came to me with a rumour like, oh my god, you're going to love this, it's about so-and-so. And they were like, she's gained so much weight, she's pregnant. And I went, shut up, like, it's clearly a rumour. Has she said she's pregnant? No. But it's also, I don't know, it doesn't affect you. What someone else does not affect your life. So why even entertain it? Why even speak? If she's pregnant, does that affect me? No, I couldn't care less. So why even entertain it? That's what I don't understand. One of the biggest things I've learned, especially from OSU and having to deal with the rumours, is obviously I understand I'm going to have a British audience and an American audience. So high school for Americans is what English people call college. So then university in English people is what Americans call college. So I'm probably going to use American slang to describe school just so we can understand. But what I've learned is a lot of people coming into college, university, haven't grown out of that high school mentality. You haven't. And, you know, if you were a big time thing in high school and you were the most popular, you can't go into college being that way. It's not how the world works. You know, you're not on a pedestal anymore. No one really cares about you. And a lot of people still have that mentality where they're in high school, there's gossip, there's drama, there's this. Grow up. Literally grow up. The amount of people I've met and instantly I can tell how their mindset is. One thing about me, I'm very emotionally intelligent. And you'll probably hear me say that a lot. Or like when I bring guests on or friends, that's how they would describe me. People describe me as being emotionally intelligent. Honestly, I think that's because I've gone through so much drama and bad stuff in my life, I've had to grow up. But I just don't understand the mentality where you think you're better than someone or you deserve something or because you look hotter or you look better, you're cool. No, that doesn't exist in college. Literally grow up. So anyway, back to the rumours, because this all has to do with the rumours. I've started hearing rumours about myself, and I'm going to be honest, it broke my heart. It was one of the worst experiences I've had to deal with. And it was so upsetting because it was friends and sisters in my sorority doing it. They're no longer in the sorority. That's not for me to say why, but they're no longer in it. So I don't want people to think I'm bashing my sorority. I love my sorority. The girls in there have my back. And they had my back with the rumours, a lot of them. But, so the rumours started, and I remember I was like, where's this coming from? Because it was people who didn't even know me, or people, and this is going to sound so horrible to say, and I honestly hate saying it, because it really makes me upset. It was girls who were jealous of me, wanted to look like me, were intimidated by me, and that's not just me saying that, there's evidence of the reason why. So, I'm just going to say what the rumours were. The first rumour I heard was Ruby Smith does OnlyFans. Really? Let's, use our brain for once. Why would I do OnlyFans? You really think I'm doing, come on, if you know me, you know that's not me. So then, the rumours start progressing. But the problem with the OnlyFans one was, it was getting around Greek life. So I'm still a part of Greek life. Things spread very quickly in Greek life, and because I'm the only British girl, everyone knew who it was. It was living hell. I had people coming up to me, oh, can I subscribe? What's your username? I had people at the gym come up to me and go, can I film with you? At one point my phone number got leaked and I had people messaging me. Someone made a fake account called Ruby Rose, apparently that was me. And they were saying, Ruby Rose, can I subscribe? It wasn't just a tiny rumour, it completely took over my life. Everyone thought of me, and people knew it was fake, but they loved to give in to the rumours. So it started off as that, and I remember I literally had to call my mum and dad. I was like, this is going around, I can't do it, take me home. Because you've got to imagine, I have lived in England my whole life. I've come to America maybe once a year to visit family. All my family lived in Florida. So I was in Oklahoma, but middle of nowhere. I knew no one. I had no family there. And I'm going to have to start dealing with these rumours. Put that into perspective. One of the biggest things about me is I think the word's empathetic, or something, I don't know. Something like that. And I always think, if that happened to me, I would never do something to someone that I wouldn't want done to me. So maybe just think about that next time you make a rumour. Anyway, so all this started to go on. And the rumours started to get worse and worse. And they were, Ruby gets black football train ran on her. When I heard that one was probably one of the worst, because I then had footballers from the team messaging me. I remember I saw one of them on the strip. I'm going to be honest, and this is going to upset a lot of Americans, I really don't care about American football. I didn't grow up with it. It's nothing, it's like rugby to me. It didn't impress me. I wasn't, a huge fan. I don't support a team. Obviously, I support OSU, football team, but it wasn't ride or die for me. I was like, oh, cool, I'll turn up to a football event, yeah. So then the footballers started coming up to me. And obviously, I'm not going to fake it with someone. Even if someone's very well known in the football community, I'm not going to be a suck-up. I'm not going to ride you just because of your name. So I had one of them come up to me. He was very well known. I'm sure a lot of people know him. And he was like, why have I heard that I'm having sex with you? And I didn't even know who he was at that point. I was like, who are you? He was so offended. He was like, what do you mean you don't know who I was like, I don't really care about football. You would have thought I shot his mother. He gave me the worst look. He was like, keep my name out. I was like, bro, shut, like, I don't know who you are. And then I started getting messages from footballers. Oh, I've heard me and you were together, and once again, I would message them, because they would add me on Snapchat or Instagram. I didn't have them added. I didn't know who they were, I didn't care. So they would message me like, oh, why have I heard this? And I'll be like, I literally don't know who you are, I'm sorry. And they would get so mad at me. So those rumours started coming out. Oh, Ruby's sleeping around. Ruby's with this person. Ruby's with... One thing about me, you will never know who I'm with. I don't share that information. Because, as awful as this is, girls are petty. Girls can be awful. And if someone finds out who you're speaking to, they go for that person. So if you've heard a rumour like, oh, Ruby's seeing this person, it's a lie. No one knows who I'm seeing. Shocker, I'm not seeing anyone right now. Let's just put that out there. So I was having to deal with that, and then the rumours kept getting worse and worse, and it was, oh my god, Ruby got chlamydia, Ruby got this. No, I didn't. So you've got to imagine, I would walk into a room, straight away people would go, oh my god, that's a British girl, she slept with this. And it genuinely destroyed me. It broke me down. But at that point, my family and friends like, Ruby, like, take it as a compliment people want to have sex with you. As awful as it is to say, like, you have to control the narrative, otherwise you're going to get your feelings hurt. So at this point, I'm like, you know what, like, no, I'm done with this. So, as I said, I'm very confident, like, if you have a problem with me, I will go up to you and speak to you about it. One thing about me is, if I say something behind your back, it's because I would say it to your face. What I'm saying on camera now, I would say to someone's face. But a lot of those people out there love to talk behind my back and act fake in front of me. I will call a fake... I'm not going to swear, I don't swear. I'm not going to swear on this podcast, but I will call a fake female dog out straight away. I don't put up with it. So I started, there was one night, you know, there was a group of us in a room, and I called them out. I said, look, you don't know me, you've never spoken to me, stop with the rumours. I am one of the biggest girls. I will have your back, you can go in my wardrobe, take anything, I will do your makeup, I will have your back till the end, until you give me a reason not to. I will treat you how you treat me. And that's how I've been my whole life. If you're nice to me, I will be nice to you. The second you're not nice to me, I won't be nasty to you, but I will be very straight up. It's very much with me, it's black or white. And I've always been that way. But what a lot of these girls, because it was girls making up the rumours, it wasn't the guys. I thought it was the guys to begin with. It wasn't, it was the girls. And what the girls didn't realise was, if you message a guy, oh, so-and-so's a slag, she's done this. The guys were sending me screenshots of your chat messages. So if you're sat here watching this, going, oh, I wonder if she thinks, I know it was you. I know who did it. So if there's if you think I'm cold with you, it's because I know you did something to me. Anyway, but the worst part about this was, girls, and I don't want to be like, oh, a pick-me girl, or, oh, I think I'm the hottest girl. No, I'm very confident in my body. I'm very confident in the way I act. I'm very sure of myself. I love who I am, and that's not a bad thing. But to see the messages, and the girls would send screenshots of my Instagram or a photo of me to the guy and be like, oh, she's so fake, she's had this done, I wish I looked like her, like, isn't she perfect? To me, that was so weird. The fact that someone wished they could look like me genuinely upset me, because I've not always been body confident. I grew up fat. Plain and simple. I was that fat kid. And so one of the rumours is, people think I've had a BBL. People think I've had surgery. I'm going to tell you right now what I've had done to myself to set the record clear. I got a breast reduction. If you don't know what that means, it means I got my breasts made smaller. It wasn't for aesthetics. It wasn't for that. It was lifestyle. I'm a competitive show jumper. I've competed internationally. I ride horses nearly every day. The back pain I was getting was unbearable. So I got a breast reduction to help with pain. That is all the surgery I've had. I'm sorry to disappoint the haters, and I'm sorry to people from my old school who are like, oh my gosh, she's changed so much. Like, I'm sorry, it's called hard work in the gym. All those years of bullying you guys put me through, I use that as motivation. So, all these rumours are coming out, and it's genuinely breaking my heart. I started confronting people, stuff like that. The rumours eventually stopped. People still love to talk about me. Yik Yak especially loves to talk about Brit Barbie. I don't have Yik Yak. We're not allowed Yik Yak in my sorority. But from what I've been told, looking at my friends, the Yik Yak sometimes... I have a friend, she's a new friend, she's in my sorority, she's a COB girl. And she got tore down on Yik Yak just like I did. And I can't understand if you post something on Yik Yak and it's negative about someone, grow up. If you have nothing better to do than talk about me on an anonymous platform, grow up. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, all the rumours you heard, I'm really sorry. They're fake. If it didn't come from my mouth, it's not true. I'm really sorry. I haven't slept with a frat house or tons of guys. No. Literally grow up. Anyway, so during this podcast, I'm going to, be talking about gossip, relationships, especially relationships. You guys aren't going to believe what I've been through. I'm not going to speak about relationships this episode, probably next, because there's a quite recent one. I'm not going to lie. But it's okay. Sorry if I'm coughing, I am ill. I got ill on the way home from America. But speaking of rumours, we may as well stick on that topic. One thing about me, I'm going to be honest, I hate school. School is not for me. If you know me, school is not for me. And it's not that I'm dumb. It's not that I don't apply myself. You know, some of those people, that it's just not for them. It is not for me. Like, it is not. I was a pre-vet, a major, and that would have been 8 years of school. And I'm not doing 8 years of school, so I've changed to sports media with a minor in fashion merchandise. I think that makes a lot more sense. However, on this podcast, I know a lot of my haters are watching this, because what's so funny to me is when I announced I was doing the podcast, the viewers on my story didn't follow me, and a lot of them were from school. Shock, a lot of them were my bullies. My Instagram post I did, it got, I don't know how many, I think it's like 30 shares. People are talking about me, I know it, They're always going to talk. If you have nothing better to do than talk about me, that's really not my loss. But anyway, so I'm going to be spilling the tea. A lot of drama, I'm going to be brutally honest. And if you're sat behind the screen going, oh, I wonder if she's going to speak bad about me, chances are yes. If you have done something bad to me, I will be bringing it up. So, to the people who have messaged me like, hi, you're not going to speak about this incident, yes I am. And I probably will name and shame those people. Anyway, so, since we were talking about rumours, let's go on to life before OSU. I obviously went to a high school or college. I'm not sure I can say the name. I think I can. Yeah, I think I can. I'm not hating on this school in this instance. I'm just telling you my experience at the school. I hated that school. I went to Barnard Castle School. Hated every second of being there. And it wasn't necessarily the school, it was the people. It was a private school, so you can imagine it was private kids who are entitled. And I'm not saying I wasn't. I have done a lot of maturing since being that school. I'm a completely different person. If you've not spoken to me in the last 6 months, you don't know who I am. Like, quite frank, you don't. But anyway, let's start with the rumours. I remember one time, in my school, it was very cliquey. I'm describing it from my point of view. And I'm probably around 16, 17 at this age. I'm going to be brutally honest, I was a potato. I had no eyebrows. My eyebrows are tattooed on. I had no eyebrows. I was bleach blonde. I looked like a bowling ball. So you can imagine the bullying I got. But I also was very, very, I won't say mouthy, but as I said, controversial and very confrontational. And it wasn't that people knew not to mess with me, but I was going to fight if you started a fight. Like, verbally, I will fight. Physically, I'm all talk. I've never gotten in a fight in my life. I've never swung at someone. It's not who I am. I am so scared of physical fight, I can't do it. Because I know I would lose. And I'm not doing something I know I'm going to lose at. So anyway, there was this moment in my life. It was my friend group. There was about 5 of us in our friend group. We were the smaller of the groups. And the way we identified the other groups, I'm going to be brutally honest. And this is going to sound so mean, but you've got to understand it was 16-year-olds. We all kind of hate each other. We were all private school. Like, it just wasn't a good setting. So, you had my group. It wasn't my group. There was definitely a leader of the group. But, like, in our group, we didn't think that. Other people thought that. So, these were, like, my 5 bestest friends at the time. I'm no longer in contact with any of them. All I'm going to say is they stabbed me in the back. The biggest betrayal of my life. And I will be talking about that incident. Not right now. It's a very deep incident. And it doesn't really need to be discussed right now. Because this podcast is going to be lighthearted and fun and spilling the tea. But there's definitely going to be some real elements. Because one of the main things I want for this podcast is, it's all good watching someone else's podcast, you know, where they're 30. And they talk about, oh, I remember this happened when I was younger. It doesn't matter. You're not in that situation right now. What I'm going through, you guys will most likely be going through it at this time. So it's almost like a deep girl talk. This is what I want that podcast to be. A safe space, girl drama, gossip, guy drama, and we just talk about it because we're all going through the same thing. We're all 18, 19, starting out at college, figuring out who we are, you know. There's a lot of friendships, breakups, stuff like that. Anyway, my group, we'll just say my group because I'm speaking about it. It wasn't my group. But then, here's how we identified the other groups. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to say her name. She's not a bad person. I have no bad blood against her. And I'm sure she's lovely. I've never spoken to her much. But there was a group called Eve's Minions. As awful as that is to say, it was true. It was, in my school, Barnard Castle, if you were on the rugby team, or your parents were teachers at that school, you got away with murder. Everyone else, lamb to the slaughter. So Eve's Minion, people in that group, their parents worked at school. They were the popular kids. There was a lot of them. They were all, it was honestly kind of incesty. Everyone has that group at school where they all kind of get with you, and that was them. You know, one day, someone's girlfriend, next day, like, they were just like, we called them Eve's Minions because Eve was the leader. That's how we saw her. She kind of ran everything. But God's honest, Eve on her own was generally one of the nicest. Was she? She's gonna hate me. No, like Eve on her own was genuinely a lovely person. But we just didn't. You know how you change around different people. We didn't like who the group was. And people are gonna come for me and go, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true." I'm talking about 16-year-old us. You know that's well and true. You know those groups and those cliques. My group, I don't really know what we were known for. We were all on the sports teams. Like, we were friends with people individually, but, like, socially, group-wise, we didn't mix. That's how my school was. You didn't really mix with them. Sorry if there was a break. My camera cut out. But anyway, so that was Eve's Minions. Then there was, this is going to sound awful to say, we called them the losers. Because they were. Like, I'm sorry, they were. It was the art kids, I was an art kid myself, but it was like the weird ones. You know, the people you avoid, the like really smart people who like kind of look down on you because you're dumb. It was those people. Anyway, at one point, there was this girl, I'm not going to name her name, and I have to be very careful how I word this because I'm very blunt and very straight to the point, and I don't say things to be mean. But obviously in this generation, obviously snowflake generation, you have to be careful with what you're saying. She obviously had her mental challenges. I'm not going to say anything else on that. You can probably guess, like, she just didn't really have human qualities day-to-day people had. So, what ended up happening is her parents ended up emailing school saying, my daughter's so unhappy, she gets bullied, she wants to leave. And I'm just, out of all the groups, Eve's groups, the losers, and my group, we were the only ones that spoke to her. Every day I would walk in and go, hi so-and-so, how are you? Like, our whole group did it. Was it kind of as a joke? Yes, but it was also in a nice way. As awful as that sounds, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, oh, she's, you know, she's a bit weird, but like, we'll be nice. But she just, you know that person who doesn't know how to read the room and like, is just weird. So she would sit next to me and like meow. And she would sit next to me and hump my leg. That was my biggest problem I had. She would sit there and like hump my leg like that. Or like she would stroke. And I'm like, bro, stop. And this is going to sound so mean. She stunk. And there's nothing worse than sitting next to a stinky person. And like, my group would get up to like, try and get away from her. But she would like follow us like behind her. It was weird. Like, that's what I mean, like, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Anyway, so she ended up, her parents emailing school. There's this one teacher. I don't want to blast his name. He had small man syndrome. Like, I think it was like 5, 6, and you know when they think, oh, shut, like, genuinely, the vein of my existence. He is terrified of my parents. If you knew me, people would always be like, oh, don't get in a fight with Ruby, she's going to sue you. That was the narrative of me. I got bullied in my private school for my parents having too good of a job. We're at private school, your parents have got to be making money. So I don't understand that whole aspect. But back to the story. So, she emailed the teacher we all hate, small man syndrome. Honestly, he genuinely thought he was the most important thing in the world. No one cared. He didn't even do his job properly. He was, like, mental, like, looking after kids well. Bro, he didn't do his job. That school was hell. Hell. And when I, in the next few episodes, start talking about why, you're going to be like, how is that legal? Anyway. So what, we're going to give him a name. We'll call him Mr. L. Everyone's going to know who I'm speaking about now, Mr. L. So Mr. L then went to Eve's minions. And went to them like, oh, who was the mean kids? Like, who's the problem? They're not going to say it's the loser. They said it was us. They hated us. And we hated them. I'm going to be brutally honest. We hated them. If people from my group ended up being friends with the Eve minions in my last year, let me tell you, the amount of dirt and dog poo they spoke on you guys, criminal. I was a part of it. I'll hold my hands up. I did not like you guys. Because you guys made my life living hell. Anyway. So, they obviously went, oh, it's Ruby, so-and-so, so-and-so, it's their group, they're mean. And then he spoke to a few people from, like, the losers, the smart kids. They all said it was Eve's minions. But because there was 50 of them and 3 of the losers, our group got all the blame. The girl even said to the teacher, Mr. L, oh no, those girls are the nice girls. But because our parents didn't work at school, we weren't on the football team, we took the blow. I nearly got expelled. Yeah, I'm not going to say I was a saint at school. I got in trouble a lot. I didn't like school, I got in trouble. You know, I was a drama queen. I got in trouble. So he's like, oh, this is perfect. We were the problem child in their eyes. So, he then, one by one, got us in a room. And what he had done is, every single person from Eve's minions said something about us. And he blanked out the names, and he made, it was mostly me and my other best friend at the time that got the blow. Because the other girls, they were smarter than us, and they hadn't been as much trouble as us, but they were part of the group still. And there was one girl that I don't hate, because one thing about me is I don't hate anyone, because I don't care enough to hate you. But I genuinely despise her. She is Satan herself. I don't know what happened to her. Honestly, I kind of forgot her. I think she was already, like, suspended anyway, something like that. Anyway, so my friend actually ended up, I don't think she got expelled, but, like, she was, like, away from school. So what they made me do, they made me sit in a room. There was a teacher, and then there was Mr. L. I loved that teacher. I think her name was Mrs. Beanall. She was, like, she was a saint. I love her. She was so nice. Anyway, so I walk in and I sit down, and he goes, "Hi, how have you been?" I'm like, yeah, like, I know I'm in trouble. I didn't say that, but, like, in the back, I know I'm in trouble. So I'm like, yeah. And he goes, "So, want to tell me what's been going on?" The problem was, it was a Monday. On Saturday, we were playing field hockey. I actually got in a fight with one of the girls because she was a wimp. And I tackled her or something, and she was like, "Oh my god, that's too hard!" And I was like, "Bro, we got in, like, a verbal fight, but she was a crybaby. She was a crybaby." So I was like, "Oh, is this the fight about so-and-so?" Because I knew she was a crybaby, and he went, "No, what happened?" So I told him, and he was like, "Oh, no, it's not that." And he slides me about 4 front to back pages. And I'm looking at this, and I start reading it, I'm like, he goes, "So, want to expand?" I go, "No." He goes, and he starts reading the comments to me. But the problem was, you couldn't tell if the comment was about me or one of my friends, because he scribbled out the names. I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing the ones he showed me were about me, but when I tell you them, you're going to realise they didn't make sense. Because Eve's Minions lied! They lied about us! They lied. I hate lies. I will not do it. I hate lies. Don't even get me started on lies. Anyway, so I start reading them, and he goes, "So, do you want to start telling the truth?" And I'm going, "I did not do it." I'm like, "I don't know what's going on. I did not do that." And he goes, "I think you need to dig a little deeper." I'm like, "I didn't do it." One thing about me was, I had now found my voice. So if I didn't agree with something, I was saying it. I was like, "No, that's not me. Like, that is not me. I didn't do that. That's not who I am." And he didn't believe me. Anyway, so some of the quotes were like, "So-and-so is intimidating. Grow up. So-and-so confronted me about this fight." I'm getting in trouble for confronting someone about speaking bad about me, but they're not getting in trouble for speaking bad about... Make it make sense. I remember one of the rumours. Well, it wasn't one of the quotes, and it was, "When I walk by so-and-so in the hallway, she punches me." I've never thrown a punch in my life. You can ask my friends, even people who hate me. I've never thrown a punch in my life. So that's when I'm like, not kicking off, but I'm like stern, like, this is not me, this is not me. Anyway, what they ended up doing was taking me into isolation. But it wasn't normal isolation. They, like, hid me in a room with no clock. They took my phone off me. They had me there from, I think, 11 till 3 p.m. I missed lunch. Obviously, I was fat. Obviously, I wanted lunch. People are now noticing I'm not there because my friends are like, "Oh, she's been in there a while, it must be serious." Because I think I was one of the first ones to get spoken to. So I'm sat there for what, 4 hours? I have no concept of time, and I'm sat there thinking, oh my good lord, my parents are going to kill me, they're going to think it's true. So I am sat there dripping like, oh my god, like, my parents are going to kill me, they're going to think I'm a bully, it's not me. Anyway, what ended up happening was, one of the teachers came and got me, and they brought me into the conference room where my parent was, and my dad's on the phone. My dad doesn't work at home, he works overseas. So it was my mum and my dad on the phone and 3 teachers. Mr. L, my head of house, and the head of sixth form. So I've walked in, my bumhole is hanging out my arse. I walk in, I go, Mum, I didn't do it. And she's like, I know. I'm like, whew. Oh, okay. So in my head, I know there's a fight coming. Because I'm very much my parents' daughter, and they will fight. So I sit down, thank goodness, it was during COVID, so we had the face masks. So I've gone in, and my parents have gone straight away, like, Ruby, are you okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes. And then my mom goes, no, my dad's on the phone. He goes, why haven't you messaged us? I go, oh, they've confiscated my phone. My parents kicked off, because it's my phone. School's like, oh, we were doing it to, like, help her, like, to save her. And they were like, no, you are isolating my daughter. No clock, no food, no water. She wasn't allowed to leave their room. I wasn't allowed to go to the toilet. So my parents were furious already. So my parents know what kind of child I am, and they know I'm not physical. They know all this. So they were fighting for me. Thank goodness I had one of the best parents. Like, I had the best parents. At that time, school didn't realise my parents would fight for me. They thought, what their idea was, they were like, let's make Ruby the example child. We don't have to deal with the other kids. And it can just blow over. No, 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 no. What is fair for one is fair for all. So they're fighting, and at this point, you know, I'm like crying because it was really stressful at the time. So my dad is then on the phone, and he's going to Mr. L. I don't know how you sleep at night or look in the mirror. I've been to Afghanistan and seen men blown up, blah de blah, and you're sat here destroying my daughter. Like, I mean, he was kicking. Thank goodness we had the masks. I'm sat there laughing my head off, and my dad knows I'm laughing. So we're talking blah de blah, and what school wanted to do was they wanted to suspend me with the possibility of being expelled. My parents aren't dealing with that. They went, you are not suspending my daughter. It was not an option. Like, my parents were telling school, you are not suspending my daughter. A few years prior, my brother got in trouble for something. He got, it was on a ski trip or something. And that's a funny story, that's for another time. And they tried to suspend him, and parents went, no, you're not suspending him. Anyway, he didn't get suspended. So they kind of knew where this was going. I'm going to tell you, I got suspended for a day. I ended up taking the week off. You know what I mean? Like, you said, I'm taking the week off, like, you know. Anyway, so then, since it's fair that, because the problem was Mr. L never asked anyone from my group our side of the story. So what I did is I took those sheets home, and under every single comment, I wrote my side of the story. One of them was, Ruby passes the ball too hard in netball, it's so mean. So I've turned around and said to them, the sports teacher sat in front of me. I was on the first team for everything. I was a sport athlete. And I've turned around and gone to the headmaster. Because the headmaster's now involved, because when I say it kicked off, it kicked off. The headmaster's now involved because they're trying to expel me, and I did nothing wrong, I'm not getting expelled. So I've turned around and gone to the sports teacher has just said how good of a sport athlete I am, how much of a team player I am, how I'm one of the best on the team. And I've turned around and gone, if I throw the ball too hard, is she not going to tell me off? And they were all like, I know, but this kid, I went, no, if I threw the ball too hard, I would have been told off, and I haven't. So that rumour's fake. I then said to them, check the CCTV cameras, because they were saying it was on the staircase, where there was a CCTV camera. So they've checked the footage and they've gone, yeah, we can't find any footage of you punching anyone. We've seen you holding the door open for people. But because so-and-so said it, we have to punish you. I'm sorry, what? So I was getting punished for all these fake, and they knew they were fake. There was one, we joke about it, the headmaster actually ended up having to tell like my parents to shut up about the shallots, because Eve, I think it was Eve or someone in Eve's group, brought shallots into school. If you don't know what shallot is, it's like an onion. And they chopped up the onion and put it in mine and my friend's locker. So what, like, they stuffed it in our pants, like, it stunk. So we picked up the pieces and we placed it back in their locker. One of the rumours was, Ruby brings shallots into school and puts them in everyone's locker. And it was the losers that said that. It was the losers. Should have put it in their locker. So you can kind of see where this was going. So, yeah, the rumours? Like, I don't understand, and we proved every single rumour wrong, and we still got punished. So when I say I hate that school, because that's not even anything bad compared to what I went through in that school, I had to deal with bullying, you name it, I dealt with it. One of my nicknames at school was pepperoni face because I had acne. I used to get called Fat Dyke. Shock, I'm not a lesbian. I think that's pretty obvious. You know, I had to deal with all these rumours. So when I then wrote to school an email or to the headmaster saying what I've been through and evidence. I had evidence of kids messaging me saying, I remember one of the worst things that I've ever been told in my life, and it was during a school ski trip. So I had a crush on this guy at the time, and people who I thought were my friends, like, I was the kid that, like, sat in the back of the bus. So we were sat in the back of the bus because we had to drive, like, 27 hours or something. Oh, no, it was a trip to Iceland. My bad. And one of the girls was like, oh, my God, Ruby fancies you. And he's like, no, like, you know, fair enough. I don't blame him. If you saw a photo of me back then, you would have, like, I don't blame him. But I remember one time, the bullying got so bad on that school trip, like, the fighting between me and him, and it was 50-50. I'll hold my hands up. I was aggravating him, he was aggravating me. So then, I came out my room, and I can hear him and my friend at the time, Lucy. Lucy didn't have anything to do with the previous, that was, like, just a fake name. There was this girl, Lucy, and she was the biggest female dog. She was ginger, she was fat, all these things. So, like, I understand she was being mean because, like, hurt people hurt. Anyway, so she would do nasty digs at me, like, oh, if there's a fire alarm, hopefully, because we had to get out the windows in one of the hotels, she was like, I don't think you'll be able to fit through the window. Have you looked in the mirror? We literally wore the same size clothes. Anyway, so she was speaking to, I had a crush on this guy called Jake. And I remember they were speaking about me, and I was, like, here, there was a corridor, I was in the corridor, and they were in the lobby. And they were speaking about it, and I'm listening, like, I'm getting my evidence. I'm like, he said to Lucy at the time, he went, no one will ever love Ruby. No one, and he can deny it because he denies it to this day. I have text message proof. He went, no one will ever love Ruby. The only reason Ruby would get married is for her dad's money. Then they would divorce her. So you can imagine 15-year-old Ruby hearing that. I'm bawling my tear, like, I was just like, what the hell? So, when I say I've been bullied at that school, like, you have no idea. It's honestly funny to look back now. I don't hate any of them, I really couldn't care less, like, I don't think of them, and it definitely made me who I am today. But when I say that school was living hell, so obviously I've told the headmaster all this. I had evidence, I had text messages, I had phone receipts, and I gave him the evidence and he went, oh, like, we don't want to start anything new. So I've gone, no, hold on. I have just been suspended, I've been told off, and I have evidence and you won't deal with it because it's too controversial and the school's going to get in trouble. So yeah, my side never got resolved. Those kids, I think they got spoken to. They didn't get in trouble. And that was my one of many experiences at my high school. So I know there's a lot of people from my high school watching this. I'm not doing this to be mean. I'm not doing this to be I'm finally saying my side of the story because my side was never told. And honestly, I'm going to address it. You know, you did it to me. I'm sure I did hell back to you. And I will hold my hands up and say I'm sorry. But I never did anything bad like that. So, as you can see, rumours have kind of followed me my whole life. That's why I don't really care right now. I'm already aware. If I see something on Yik Yak, like, oh my God, Brit Barbie's doing the stupid... I don't care, downvote. Downvote. Report, downvote. Literally, like, grow up. Anyway. So, that is... I think I'm going to do a wrap on this podcast episode. We talked a lot. I talked a lot. I'm a yapper. I love to talk. That's one of the reasons I did the podcast is I love to talk. Like, non-stop. So this is a way that I can talk and it be out there and dealt with. And honestly, it's funny. Like, everything I'm saying on this podcast is for humour. It's not to be mean. It's not to be vindictive. It is just humour. I'm telling you life experiences because I know my friends have been through similar things. So yeah, we're going to wrap up this episode. I hope you liked it. If you're still watching, thank you. Hit the subscribe button. Like, why not? I can't even see who subscribes. Hit the subscribe button, stalk me. Hit the like. If you want to leave a comment, please be nice. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun. I'm sure you're probably like eating food or something watching this, or there's a group of you sat there or something. But yeah, if you like me spilling the tea, and when I say there's a lot more drama and worse stuff that would be coming up, next episode, I'm going to talk about how a friend of mine at OSU got very jealous and tried to run me over. He's actually like, he was facing jail charges for something else, and that's another thing that I'm going to talk about. It's really funny. So yeah, if you want to hit the like, hit the notification bell. I don't really know. This is my first time doing YouTube. If you want me to tell a funny story, or like something that happened to you and help you with advice, I 100% will. I'm really good at advice. If anyone wants to come on, message me. I'll have anyone. It's fun, you know, it's a bit of fun. It's nothing that serious. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed tea time with me, Brit Barbie. All I'm going to say is stay pink and stay petty. Thank you for watching.